Hi, this is author-philosopher Ronald E. Springer of EthicsUnderground.com here to continue the reading of Moral Armor. Chapter 8, Part 15, Preserving the Indeterminate, Anti-Concept Formation. Please hit like and subscribe before we dive in. Words do not command reality, but only describe it. They cannot be tailored to an individual's wishes or weaknesses, and they do not alter existence. They are as rigid as scientific measurements, and the more precise we are in their use, the brighter are the benefits they make possible. But to a spirit murderer, words are a way of stealing, an attempt to loot the value of a concept's true meaning by stretching it to cover what it doesn't actually describe. In most circles, anti-concepts exist unchallenged, spreading and perpetuating without resistance, and to the trained ear, their death rattle can be heard in every sentence. A concept is a mental integration of specific attributes. A word's clarity determines its usefulness, which is the whole point of defining it. An anti-concept is a mental integration of variable attributes subject to the interests of the wisher. It allows the user to hijack valuable concepts such as love, courage, and honor, and install his own defining characteristics. A definition that lets any attribute comprise a thing evicts it from the realm of identity, of measurement, and of focus. When anything defines a thing or a concept, it no longer exists. Anti-concept formation is the ultimate cognitive sin. It is not just the corruption of language, but of comprehension itself. In tribute to Aristotle, I call this A is anything. Spirit murderers intend to reverse or negate all attributes of man and existence by any means possible. As we stair-step up, they head back down with whatever we've created, beginning as early as the first human accomplishment. Their effort has shadowed our progress along the whole means of abstract evolution. Language. We use language to build. They use it to destroy. Did you ever notice when conversing with the fear-driven that you never seem to be talking about the same thing? They bob and weave to avoid any clarification which would leave their true motives exposed to open daylight, and avoid any subject they are afraid to discuss, even while discussing it. Consonant with the mislaid formation of their consciousness, so such a being uses language, not to clarify, but to form his fear-driven view of it, obscure, uncertain, and out of control, without purpose or structure, to justify how he lives. His fuzzy half-understood definitions can mean anything, or more to the point, nothing, and their insubstantiality leads him and anyone who listens as usual nowhere. But his lethargy is not without cause. There is a clear motive behind their inexactness. Language and concept formation are inverted to serve their opposite intention, to subvert and break cause and effect, not to build, but to make building impossible. There is always a dual motive, to cover their own default and to destroy those who did not. If you're wondering what beget what in chicken or egg fashion, application to the self always comes first. They want to sever the relationship of cause to effect primarily to mask their own default. To accumulate every bounty and damn its actual producers is a secondary consideration. If they can mix and match cause and effect, they neurotically believe they can realize their imaginary world. The concrete-bound mentalities claim implicitly, if I can touch it or taste it, then perhaps it is. If it is of the mind, then I get to make it up. Because a concept is not a material element like a rock or a tree, they think they can get away with subverting its identity. But such folly has never resulted in the values they try to cheat. This is the only time when they exclaim the great power of the human mind, the supposed power to turn their intellectual sludge into grandeur. Their method is simple. They see desirable products or traits in others and detach the benefits from the work expended to achieve them. Then, they reattach the benefits to whatever random actions they themselves have taken. They disconnect the guilt, shame, and poverty they suffer and plug that in as the result of the producer's effort in place of his rewards. It's easy. The producer works and gets no thanks for it, no reward, while the spirit murderer is free to remain irresponsible and incapable, gets treated like a king and enjoys the looted bounty. It may sound like a foolish child's game, and is, but it has grown into the foundation of many religious, philosophical, and governmental systems around the world. Still, it doesn't work, not on an individual level and not on a national level. A man can cannibalize, but cannot assume the stature of his victims. He can steal their property, but he cannot reproduce the bounty which he efforts only to take. The productive cannot be drained to serve the non-productive without collapse of the system on any scale that it's practiced. The only difference is the time necessary to hollow out a larger capital base, revealing the sickness with the final crumbling of the structure. But truth, facts, honor, and justice are not enough to stop the fear-driven. The something for nothing, get away with it, mentality respects neither reason nor boundaries, as they are psychologically tied to their end. Under the pretense of confirming the fluid structure of the mind, they approach the psychological safety of never having to face reality, and for the fear-driven, that is too big a carrot to ignore. It is a quest they will never drop, even though its true confirmation would be a descent into madness, which some do reach. But most spirit murderers exist in a state of neurotic dysfunction, angry and helpless, and function just enough to make it to work each day, grudgingly adhering to the minimum level of civility society requires. The only discipline that keeps them together, that instance of proper conceptualization, is what they fight. Integration is the action of mind that fits new pieces into the puzzle of life. The purpose and inevitable result of anti-conceptualization is disintegration. He achieves no pride in this folly, he just makes the puzzle impossible to solve. Domination and temporarily successful deceit do not carry the sense of self-worth that pride does, as they require victims. He can stand alone no more than a beggar can. He achieves no spiritual bounty, but only wipes out the values he wished to seize, and further distances himself from ever reaching any. There is no way to escape cause and effect. It is what it is. Life fulfillment and emotional health are achieved by all men in the same basic ways and for the same reasons, as why we all use the same dictionaries. Concepts are what they are and mean what they mean, regardless of who's using them. They describe conditions of existence that can be encountered by anyone. When encountered, they are given names to differentiate them from all other concepts. To use a concept's name when its conditions do not exist does not bring its rewards about. Yet as we form concepts, just as we build homes, plants, and skyscrapers for use, the immoral man sits back and expects that one day the book titled My Way will drop out of the sky, packed with the definitions that allow him wealth and grand spirituality for nothing for his guarded lifestyle of total irresponsibility. It will never happen. Sloth by any other name is still sloth, as is fear. Confidence, pride, love, and self-worth are made up of the elements they are made up of, regardless of the names chosen for them. The elements are determined by cause and effect. They cannot be cheated and are not negotiable. The clear definition of virtues places all men on a moral map, showing each his distance to their attainment. Spirit murderers pretend the map shows them sitting upon the crest of virtue in all cases automatically, which leaves him stuck where he is. There has never been proper philosophical separation for the moral sides of concepts in any human language, and that can result only in confusion for the human mind. Looking in a dictionary or thesaurus, and you will see that nearly every word has a life-serving and a life-taking definition that is supposed to mean the same thing. Every word will have a synonym, which is actually a metaphysical antonym. The expropriation of the benefits provided by the life-serving concept is the motive behind equating these words. Being inconsistent, it is obvious that no rational standard defines their poles. Intentional? I consider it a missed step in the progression of reason, perhaps an overemphasis on etymology, but the proper standard is life, and someday it should be straightened out. Otherwise, such inconsistency can mask a spirit murderer's philosophical intentions, fostering a host of insincere games. By equating moral words with immoral ones, it allows the actions of a moral man to be described with immoral words, while an immoral man can have his actions softened or justified with moral synonyms. They can bait and switch, saying things one way and implying another meaning and expression or tone, leaving victims with plausible statements attached to improperly negative undercurrents. They can do the same to give a positive spin to evil propositions. Such subversion is their key means of distorting reality to rob the glory of our virtuous action and its product. Motive is everything. If someone is hell-bent on viewing virtues negatively, he can find the words for it. If he wants to put the best light on destruction and slaughter, he can do that as well. But the man who is a man uses words objectively and doesn't waste his life. He looks for the words that give him the most complete description of what it is he is doing, and outside of propriety, he needs to hide nothing. His mind flows with the logic of truth, and his body follows suit. He can breathe deeply and watch the darting eyes, eager to evade his steady glance. He can note the inconsistent gestures, the manic energy of a flight from reality, which the creature is attempting to conceal. He can watch these things calmly and make the decision not to deal with it, isolating the potential impact it can have on his affairs, until the creature matures into a human being. That's all for now. Next up is non-thought. I split these videos up by subject so you'd have a better chance of finding moral armor, and then perhaps go through the whole thing for free. Why? To help create a leader in every life. Sound civilization stair-steps up from sound coherence to sound individual to productive groups of mature individuals. Self-hatred drives fear-driven people in our world to wipe out the individual, so we all need moral armor to protect ourselves and the future of mankind. Click subscribe and leave a thumbs up if you'd like to help wipe out moral confusion fast and make the world a better place.